Welcome. Take a slow breath. Let the world grow quiet for a moment. Let your attention return to the center of your own being. Today I open for you the living field of a spiritual teaching, a transmission, a path of refinement, awakening and conscious transformation. This book is not a book in the ordinary sense. It is not a collection of ideas, and it is not philosophy meant to be admired from a distance. It is a training ground for the soul, a mirror for the hidden structures of reality, a doorway through which perception deepens, consciousness expands, and the seeker gradually becomes what he truly is. The teaching exists for one purpose: to guide the human being from limitation to awareness, from illusion to perception, from unconscious existence to conscious participation in creation. It speaks to those who sense that life is more than appearance, that behind events, behind relationships, behind thought itself there is a deeper order. And this book invites you to discover that order directly. At its deepest level, the purpose of this teaching is refinement, not improvement in the superficial sense, but transformation of perception, of energy, of consciousness itself. Human beings normally live only on the surface of reality. We see the material world, but not the forces behind it. We experience events, but not their causes. We feel emotions, but not the deeper movements of soul and karma that shape them. Spiritual development begins when this limitation becomes unbearable, when one no longer wishes to live only inside appearances. This book is devoted to lifting the veils that conceal reality. It trains the seeker to perceive the hidden dimensions of existence, mental, astral, causal, and ultimately the unity behind all forms. It teaches that life is not random, that experience is meaningful, that growth is lawful, that consciousness can be cultivated with precision, and that awakening is not accident, it is a process. Throughout these teachings, several central spiritual themes unfold again and again, like recurring movements in a great symphony. One of them is responsibility, not as a moral burden, but as spiritual power. The seeker learns that every experience has meaning, that every situation reflects inner structure, that transformation begins not by controlling the world, but by refining oneself. Another central theme is perception. Human suffering often arises not from reality, but from misperception, from the filters of belief, emotion, conditioning, and unconscious reaction. To awaken means to see clearly, to see the lawfulness of karma, to perceive the energetic structure of thought, to recognize the interconnectedness of human beings, to understand that inner states shape outer experience. Clarity is liberation. A further essential theme is spiritual training. Awakening is not achieved through belief, but through practice. Again and again, the teachings guide the seeker into concrete inner work. Concentration, meditation, energetic integration, refinement of perception, alignment with universal laws, development of inner faculties, balancing of forces within the soul, mastery of attention, conscious use of imagination as creative power. These are not symbolic exercises, they are real methods for transforming the structure of consciousness. Through them, the seeker gradually becomes capable of experiencing reality more directly, beyond conceptual thinking. Another central dimension of this teaching is the recognition of interconnected existence. Human beings do not exist in isolation. Family, relationships, collective karma, and shared energetic patterns form living networks. Healing oneself often requires healing one's connections. Transformation is relational as well as individual. This insight leads to compassion, to responsibility, and to conscious participation in the evolution of life itself. The initiatory path presented here is gradual but profound. At first, the seeker becomes aware of illusion, and he begins to question appearances. Then he learns to work with mind, with attention, with energy, with inner states. He begins to understand cause and effect beyond the visible world. He refines perception, he cultivates inner balance, and he strengthens will and clarity. As practice deepens, consciousness becomes more unified. Inner fragmentation dissolves. Insight becomes intuitive rather than intellectual. Eventually, the distinction between observer and observed begins to soften. Understanding becomes direct experience. In its highest expression, the seeker realizes unity with reality, with consciousness, with the divine ground of existence. This is not a belief, it is a state of being. Along this path, many inner experiences may arise. Periods of deep clarity, heightened sensitivity to energy, insight into the meaning of life events, emotional purification, recognition of karmic patterns, moments of expanded awareness, greater inner stability, increased intuition and inspiration, a sense of connection with all forms of life, and at times challenges may also arise, confrontation with illusion, with imbalance, with resistance to change. This too is a part of transformation. Spiritual growth is refinement, and refinement requires honesty, courage, and persistence. Why are these teachings so relevant today? Because humanity stands in a time of acceleration, of confusion, of fragmentation, of information without wisdom. People search for meaning, yet rarely receive training in perception. They seek power, yet rarely learn responsibility. They desire awakening, yet avoid discipline. This path restores what has been lost: real initiation, real training, and real transformation. It reminds us that spiritual development is not entertainment, not belief, not identity, but it is conscious evolution. And conscious evolution is the great task of our time. Who is this book for? It is for sincere seekers, for those who feel that life must be understood from within, for those who are willing to practice, not only to think, for those who are ready to question illusion, including their own, for those who wish to refine perception, energy, and consciousness step by step, and for those who sense that awakening is not a concept but a destiny. It is not for curiosity alone, it is for commitment. Ultimately, this teaching supports awakening by restoring alignment. Alignment with the laws of creation, with inner truth, with responsibility, and alignment with the unity underlying all existence. From this alignment emerges mastery, not domination but harmony, not control but conscious participation, not escape from life but full presence within it. This is spiritual perfection, not perfection of form but perfection of awareness. If you feel resonance with these words, if something in you recognizes this path, then approach the teaching directly. Read the book slowly, practice sincerely, observe carefully. Allow transformation to unfold in its own rhythm. And if you wish to go deeper, structured initiatory training is available for mystics. If you wish to walk the path within a living spiritual current, you may enter the work of Ordo Mysticus. The door is open, but only you can step through it. Walk gently, practice sincerely, remain awake, and may the light of consciousness reveal itself within you. In love, light and service, I am Ray del Sol.